Imagine a city of 50,000 people, a city that was 16 years old, young, vibrant, full of children, with an amusement park that was going to open on May 1st, with a central square where children played every day. Imagine that, one morning in April, the sky became strange. A strange light, a fine dust. Nobody said anything. The children continued playing in the square. The workers went to the power plant, the mothers prepared dinner. And then, 3 days later, the buses arrived. They said, "You'll be gone for 3 days." Everyone took a small suitcase. They thought they would return. They never did. Today, the toys are still on the floor. The dolls are still in the cribs. The books are still on the shelves. Pripyat is not an abandoned city. It is a frozen city. A city that danced before it died. And this is the story of its last days. Pripyat was no ordinary city. It was an atom-grad city, an atomic city. Built in 1970 specifically to house the workers of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant located just 3 kilometers away. It was a model Soviet city, the pride of the Union. The streets were wide and tree-lined. The buildings were modern, with large apartments, central heating, and hot water, things that in the Soviet Union at the time were a luxury. The city had a cinema, a swimming pool, schools, daycare centers, hospitals, shops,
and an amusement park that would be inaugurated on May 1st, 1986. The city was 16 years old, but it was already the future. And the future was nuclear. About 50,000 people lived there. Most were young. The average age was 26. More than 2,500 children. The city was a cradle of communist hope. Families moved from all over the Soviet Union to work at the power plant, which was believed to provide clean and inexhaustible energy for the country. Pripyat was proof that socialism worked. It was the city of tomorrow. And no one imagined that this tomorrow would last only 16 years. On April 26, 1986, the city woke up like any other Saturday. The children went to school. The workers went to the power plant. Morning shift, night shift. The sun was shining. The sky was clear. But around 2 a.m., something happened 3 kilometers away. Reactor 4 of the Chernobyl power plant exploded. It wasn't a nuclear explosion. It was a steam explosion, followed by a fire in the reactor's graphite. The reactor lid, which weighed 1,000 tons, was hurled upwards. A cloud of radioactive particles rose more than a kilometer high. In Pripyat, nobody knew. The Soviet authorities, fearing panic, said nothing. The children went to school. The workers went to the plant, many of them, unknowingly, heading towards the burning reactor. Some felt a metallic taste in their mouths. Others saw a strange light on the horizon, but nobody talked about it. Secrecy was the rule. The plant's firefighters, volunteers, and soldiers were sent to put out the fire. They didn't know they were entering a death zone. They didn't know they were being exposed to a dose of radiation that would kill most of them in a few weeks. They were heroes, but they were anonymous heroes. Meanwhile, in Pripyat, people continued their lives. Children played in the square. The sky looked strange, but nobody knew why. The amusement park was being prepared for its May 1st opening. The Ferris wheel, 26 meters high, was already assembled. The children could hardly wait to ride it. They didn't know they never would. In the following days, life in Pripyat continued, but with a growing strangeness. People noticed the fine dust covering the cars and streets. They noticed a metallic smell in the air. They noticed birds falling from the sky. But nobody talked about it. Soviet censorship was absolute. The order was, don't panic. and people obeyed. On April 27th, the day after the explosion, the authorities made a strange decision. The amusement park, which was only scheduled to open on May 1st, was opened for a few hours. Children rode the Ferris wheel, the bumper cars, the swings. It was a sudden party, a dance before death. The children laughed. The parents filmed. Nobody knew they were filming the last moments of a living city. The Pripyat amusement park later became a symbol of the disaster, not because the children had fun, but because the opening of the park was, perhaps, a desperate attempt to maintain normalcy, a way of saying, "Don't worry, everything is fine." But everything was not fine, and the children who rode the Ferris wheel that day never saw it again. Why did the authorities open the park? Some historians believe it was an attempt to distract the population from what was happening at the power plant. Others believe it was simply Soviet bureaucracy in action. The park had to be opened before Labor Day, and nobody wanted to cancel the ceremony. Whatever the reason, the result was the same. The children of Pripyat had one last day of joy before the end. On April 27, 1986, 36 hours after the explosion, the evacuation order finally arrived. The residents of Pripyat were woken up in the middle of the night. Soldiers knocked on doors, trucks and buses lined the streets. There were more than 1,200 buses. The order was clear: take only the essentials: documents, photographs, a few belongings. No appliances, no furniture, no pets. The message was, come back in 3 days. People didn't question it. They grabbed their bags, they closed the doors of their apartments, they got on the buses. They thought they would return. Some took only a small bag with clothes and documents.
They thought it was a trip. They didn't know they were seeing their homes for the last time. The buses left at 2 p.m. on April 27th. The government said it was a temporary evacuation. Most people believed it, but the government knew it was permanent. They had already measured the radiation levels and knew the city was doomed, but they said nothing. They didn't say the children would never return to their rooms. They didn't say the toys would stay on the floor forever. In 3 hours, the city of 50,000 people was empty. Today, Pripyat is a ghost town, the most famous in the world. The toys are still on the ground. The dolls are still in the cribs. The books are still on the shelves. The family photos are still on the walls. The city wasn't looted, not immediately. It was simply abandoned, and time froze it. The Ferris wheel at the amusement park is still there, stopped, immobile. No one has turned it for almost 40 years. The bumper cars are still in place. The swings are still suspended. The park was never officially opened. On May 1, 1986, Labor Day, there was no ceremony. There were no children laughing. There was only wind and silence. The schools still have desks and blackboards. The daycare centers still have cribs and toys. The hospitals still have beds and equipment. The apartments still have furniture and clothes. Everything is there.
As if the residents had left for work and never returned. Nature, however, did not wait. Trees grew between the buildings. Grass invaded the streets. Wild animals, wolves, moose, wild boars, occupied the urban spaces. The city became a forest of concrete and iron, a radioactive forest. In 2011, the Ukrainian government opened the exclusion zone to tourists. Pripyat became a dark tourism destination. Visitors walk through the empty streets, take photos, marvel at the abandonment. But few think about the people who lived there. The children who played in that park, the mothers who cooked in those kitchens, the workers who went to the power plant and never returned. Pripyat, 1986. A city of 50,000 people. A city that existed for 16 years. A city that danced before it died. Children played in the square. The amusement park was open for a few hours. Families packed their bags and left. They thought they would return. They didn't. What happened in Pripyat was not just a nuclear disaster. It was a human tragedy. A tragedy of negligence, of secrecy, of silence. The authorities knew of the danger. They knew that the radiation levels were fatal. They knew that the city would never be habitable again. But they said nothing. They didn't warn the people. They didn't prepare them for the loss. They lost everything. Their homes, their communities, their lives.
All because of a mistake that could have been avoided. Today, Pripyat is a monument to human arrogance, a reminder that progress is not guaranteed, that technology can fail, that governments can lie, that cities can die, and that when they die, the toys are left on the ground and the children never come back. The Ferris wheel at the amusement park is still there, frozen in time. The children who rode it that April day are now adults. Some have already died, from cancer, from radiation-related illnesses. Others survived, but never forgot. Never forgot the city that danced before it died. The city that was frozen in 1986. The city that even today awaits the return of its children.